Hello everyone, I am Pavneet Kaur and I welcome you all to ALS Edukemy. Today we have all gathered here in order to understand the relevance of UPSC optional subjects. This reminds me of a poet named as Robert Frost, and I hope that you all must have heard about his poem, The Road Not Taken. In that poem, he talks about choices that we make in our lives. And therefore, at the end of it, he says that whatever choices has he made, that has made the difference. This has helped me put emphasis on the relevance of subjects that you choose as a part of your UPSC CSE optional. So for that matter, we have with us today our expert faculties, Dr. Mr. Alok S. Jha and Mr. Rashid Yassin, sir. So welcome to ALS Edukemy. It's an honor to have you here. So, while we were discussing about the relevance of this workshop, we just thought that what would be the best possible way through which we'll be able to cover maximum number of questions that students usually ask while selecting their optional. So thank you so much, sir, for coming here. So Alok, sir, I'd like to ask you the very first question about it. There are many students, most of which are from science background, right? Do you think that taking up an optional such as history will help them?
My suggestion is, that science student can be a better candidate for history optional, because history optional is now very scientific. It has detailed syllabus, scientifically developed, and there is a flow in our syllabus. It's a very scientifically arranged syllabus. So now, particularly after 2013, the way they arranged our syllabus, it is so scientific that a science student can appreciate history optional better, right? So science student, of course, can think about history. And one more thing, if you are not taking history optional, you are still preparing history optional because you need history for your preliminary examination, general studies, and even in the main examination. Right. So science student definitely can, think about history optional.
I just want to add one point here. Alok sir is absolutely right that science student can easily go with this optional. One point needs to be emphasized here is that if you look into the results of history optional, most of the students are from non-history background. Clear? In fact, there are many engineers who have got selected in this examination with history as optional. So anyway, history background does not matter a lot. Even students from non-history background, they're performing much better in this examination. Yeah, obviously this year we have got a topper for history optional who has history background. But if you look to other candidates who have been selected with history optional, most of them are from non-history background. So students from non-history background can easily opt for this optional.
So this question is from you, sir. Usually students wish to take some subject through which they can cover their general studies also. So how does history help in that portion?
See, I'll let you know. One major and visible advantage of having history as optional is it has got large synonymity with general studies, both for mains examination as well as for preliminary examination. If we look into paper 1 of general studies, 60 to 65% of the total syllabus, apart from geography and social issue, is covered from history. You have to study art and culture also, modern India as well, post-independent era, world history. So anyway, you have to study history and it covers 65% of the total syllabus. And psychologically, I'm telling you, this would be the first GS paper that you will be writing for your mains examination. If you gain an edge with history in this paper, you will have the psychological advantages over other subsequent papers as well. This was about mains. At the same time, with this optional, you can easily handle 17 to 20 questions asked in preliminary examination every year. And these days, especially the paper that was asked just few days back only, especially these days, questions which are asked are basically demanding in-depth knowledge. And that in-depth knowledge can be done only with history optional. With general studies, almost it is not possible. Therefore, with history optional, general studies can easily be handled to a large extent. Even sometimes we get essays also related to historical topics that can easily be handled with history as optional subject.
Thank you so much, sir, for addressing this question. Being a student, I many a times feel myself that whether after attending the class, will I be guided after it, or our interaction will be limited only to the classes? Because there are a number of students who are there in the class. And then I always fear this, that what if I go and then my questions are not addressed? So this interaction will be limited to the class only, or even after that, we can just interact with you.
No, we can, right. We generally entertain all question in the class and even after the class also. Right. Rashid sir is also meeting students regularly. He is always available here 24/7. We are also interacting. Right. So we have this advantage to interact student within the class, even after the class, even after the course, right? Because we know that it's a process. Civil services preparation is a process. So it's not that finishing the course. We would be with you even after the course. This hand holding, right, will continue. So
our course will get over only once you get selected.
So we will continue this support.
All right. Thank you so much. So another question, that I have a lot of friends who are preparing for civil services, and then they usually go for a subject which has a shorter list. So what are the number of books that we actually need to study so that we can appear for this particular subject as an optional, Rashid sir? I would want you to answer this.
See, I'll let you know, as far as book list is concerned, clear? See, rather than emphasizing on the book list, what I personally feel is a student should follow the syllabus prescribed by UPSC. Clear? See, you have to prepare the topics which are there in the syllabus, irrespective of the book list. Clear? Because anyway, I'll let you know. So for instance, I'll let you know, Upinder Singh is normally referred by candidates for ancient India, but Upinder Singh may not cover all the topics of ancient India. I may recommend you Satish Chandra for medieval India, but Satish Chandra's 60% coverage is on political history. And if we look into the previous questions, political history is not given weightage, rather focus is more on culture, society and administration. So rather than going with long list of books, you are supposed to refer to the syllabus and you need to follow that syllabus religiously. That will allow you to remain on toe rather than getting deviated. But in case, since this question has taken place, I'll answer you that it's for this optional, you need to start with NCRTs, especially of 11th and 12th, either new and old one, either of it. And then followed by IGNOU booklets. They are very well written for mains examination. And after this, certain textbooks for ancient India, it can be Upinder Singh, for medieval India, Satish Chandra, for modern India, Bipan Chandra, Ramchandra Guha, for world history, Norman Loy. These are some books that has to be done. But again, a word of caution, don't get carried away by books. Rather, be very vigilant when you are preparing for this examination that you are there to cover the syllabus, because questions will be framed according to the syllabus rather than the books.
All right, sir. It is a great taking today because we always run after the book list that we have. And I think we focus more on what is written in the book rather than what is given in the syllabus, due to which a lot of students are not able to cover the syllabus as a whole. So, Alok, sir, this is the next question for you, that what is the frequency of current affairs that are being asked, if we talk about this history optional specifically, because this paper is more or less based on current affairs and the general knowledge that we have related to it. So can you tell me the role of current affairs in this?
Yes, one advantage of this history optional is role of current affairs is very limited. Right, very limited. One of the advantage of this optional is once you complete this syllabus, you have done it. You don't have to focus on the dynamic part of it. Whatever is called dynamic part of history is around 40-50 years ago, it is already settled. Historians have mentioned those dynamism. You have to appreciate those dynamism. Suppose when we are discussing one issue, there would be a view given by a historian in 1950s, there would be a view given by historian in 1960s, 70s, and then the latest view would be 1990s. right? So here in our history optional, best thing is you don't have to add. We are adding, right? Some new sites they are asking in the map. They are asking 2-3 new sites, but rest of the areas there is no need to add current affairs. Only thing is to appreciate dynamism. See, I am not suggesting that history is a static subject. I would be wrong when I say history like is a static subject. I'm not saying it, but I am saying it's a dynamic subject, but the role of current affairs is limited. Fine.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. So one of the criteria through which many of the aspirants decide their optional subject is the hit rate of it. Like, for example, whether many of the toppers are getting a good score in it or not. So do you think that according to the present trend, there will be this trend of getting high marks in history will continue in the future also? So I would like you to answer this.
See, my answer would be in continuity with what Alok sir said in the previous answer. The reason he highlighted one very important advantage is that history once prepared is prepared. Meaning that what I mean to say, you just have to revise the completed things again and again in order to consolidate it. And since the maximum times you will revise, obviously you will be able to recollect that easily in the examination hall. Clear? With this only, I'll move to your question that since this is the advantage, this advantage has enabled many candidates to score very high in history optional. Now these days, the major thing is that how many optional are there that gives 300 marks or near 300 marks to candidates, which is required to top the list. Clear? This year only, the candidate who has got first rank, she has got 300 marks in history optional. Clear? 293 marks in history optional. So getting 300 marks is not a big task in this optional. Those candidates who have scored lower rank also, they are candidates who have scored 300 plus also in history. And scoring 300 plus has become a normal trend in history. It's not a tough thing. And if you score 300 plus in history, obviously, provided you have scored decently in general studies and interview, you can get any rank. Clear? This first rank is not a surprise for us. Clear? This surprise may be for others, but this is not a big surprise for us because getting 300 marks is a normal trend in history. Clear? It is another matter that this candidate has got good marks in GS and essay and interview also. She has topped the list. But scoring 300 marks, hit rate in history has always been very fine, evergreen. Therefore, this optional has always paid off well to all the candidates.
So it is a big taking for all the students who have actually taken up history as their optional. So now, Alok sir, while preparing, we always set a timeline for ourselves that we'll study GS, let's say for 3 months or 4 months, and then we'll go for history or whatever optional we have taken up for this. So can you just suggest me that which is the best time to prepare for history as an optional?
See, even as I indicated earlier also, even if you're not preparing history optional, you're preparing GS, you're actually preparing history optional. So when you are starting your GS, you are starting with your NCERT. So you are reading 6th class, 7th class, 8th class. So whatever you are doing, right, for general studies and plus 20% more, 20% more, history optional is prepared. So with GS, you can start your preparation. And when you finish your preparation of GS, 20% more plus map exercise. I can tell you that we can handle history optional only with those 20% more effort plus map exercise. And then when you are going for those 20% more, it will help you in consolidation, right, in your, right, general study preparation. And when you are working on your map, you are in a better position to handle prelims question.
I just want to add one thing, that the best time to start with this optional is this month, that is June. The reason I'll let you know that this optional will take 4.5 months. And if 4.5 months is considered, then by October, you will be free with the optional. Then you can solely focus on revision and preliminary examination and writing practice as well. Clear? After appearing for your prelims in June, May or June, you are done with your optional. You just have to revise and write the answers for your mains examination to enable peak performance. So the right time, if you're talking to join history optional, to start preparation for history optional, I think June is the best month to start with this, because by October, you will be done with optional and then you can easily focus on your upcoming preliminary examination.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for answering this. So, yet another question that I would like you to answer, Rashid sir, is that whether we should join some test series or we can just sit at home and then attempt the number of questions or any question paper which is available in the market. Basically, I want you to shed some light on the relevance of test series. Right, sir?
See, I'll let you know that writing practice is always important in this examination, because anyway, whatever you know, ultimately that doesn't matter. What matters is what exactly you have presented on the answer sheet to be presented to the examiner. Clear? And with that only he comes to know that whether you have mastery over the subject or not. Writing practice is very important. The reason is that there you are translating your knowledge into effective answers. Clear? And test series enables you to translate that knowledge into effective answers. But why test series is basically required? The requirement is that every student has his or her set of problems while writing answer. Everyone has same content, but when it comes to writing differs from candidate to candidate. Someone has got a good content, but presentation is not there. Someone has good command over language, but contextual clarity is not there. Someone has got good command over the content, but at the same time, sentence formation is not right. Every candidate has his own set of problems. And here comes the role of test series. If test series is headed by a decent person who has got decent experience, the person will let the candidate to know that which are the gray areas to work upon, so that even if you have knowledge, you are not left behind. That knowledge is converted into effective answers, so that peak performance is attained and you are able to get 300 marks in optional. So test series headed by a good mentor will enable you to eliminate all the areas, gray areas, and to attain peak performance, which is required for getting through in this examination. So test series is very vital.
One more thing.
Yes, sir. Sure.
One more dimension I want to add why we need test series, because in history we have many books. Suppose for medieval India we have Satish Chandra, but Satish Chandra, on the basis of Satish Chandra we are managing our answer. But when you join a test series, your mentor can give you some hint that this dimension can be added from G.L. Mehta, this dimension can be added from B.D. Mahajan. So even if you are preparing your medieval India from Satish Chandra, you are getting the advantage of
Other books.
right, G.L. Mehta also, V.D. Mahajan also. So this benefit you can get, this benefit you can get only when you join a test series. If you're not doing it, what you will do? You will consolidate only this. You cannot actually arrange your ideas properly. You have a time limit also, you have a word limit also. All this is required when you face this examination. So it is always better, always suggested that to go for test series.
So, sir, you basically mean to say that not only learning whatever is there in the book, we also need some kind of direction, and that requires mentorship while preparing for this. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So, sir, also why many of the candidates fear about this particular subject is because they feel that they'll have to memorize a number of facts, that they'll have to memorize dates. Like I was discussing this with my mother also, that I was thinking to opt for this subject, and then she said that how will you be able to learn so many dates and facts and figures? So is it so, sir, like is it related only to this part, or it has more to do with the cultural heritage of our country? So I would want you to answer this, sir.
Generally, it is believed that history is all about crude facts, right? It is only arrangement of those facts. But I can tell you, as a student of history, right, I graduated also from Delhi University, right? No teacher, no one recommended, no one told me that dates are important. This is the one of the myth related to history. History is all about dates. All those teachers, Rashid sir will tell you, I can tell you, all those good teachers will tell you that dates are not important. Dates you will start remembering automatically without any effort. Some dates are very relevant dates that we can always remember, but you should not consider history as collection of dates or collection of facts, right? What is required is how you use those different dates, right, to frame a story. So basically we arrange different events, and when you arrange different events, you actually have this chronological sense, and this chronological sense will give you some analysis. So in our answer, suppose if I'm asking you to write causes of Battle of Palasi. So how you will arrange the ideas? Causes of Battle of Palasi, you just cannot start with Treaty of Alinagar. Chronologically, Treaty of Alinagar will come in the end, right? So when you start your answer by writing that the first cause of the Battle of Palasi is Treaty of Alinagar, you are gone because you don't have chronological sense. So we need chronological sense, but we don't need facts. We don't need dates, right? So history is not about dates, right? So we can easily forget dates, at least in the initial stage, and gradually, automatically it will come, right? You will start remembering the dates, right? So this is how we manage history.
So it means that we just have to have some timeline in our mind and not the exact years, so that we can just link every event that took place. Right. Okay. So if I talk about myself, right, I am an average student. Rashid sir, do you think that even after being an average student, I can opt for this particular subject, sir?
See, this question is, I think this question comes to the mind of every candidate who thinks of preparing for UPSC. I'll let you know. One important thing at the very outset, this examination is for average candidates. Be it any optional, I'm not talking about history. This examination is about average candidates. If you're above average, obviously you will have added advantage. But this examination is about average candidates and candidates who are just ready to work for 1 year consistently. It's only for them. The person who can read and write properly and ready to work for 1 year, provided right guidance and approach is there. With respect to history, I'll let you know, obviously it can be managed by average candidates and even by below average candidates. Yeah, because the reason is this subject is highly simple in nature, provided right approach and guidance is given. It's not very complex. It's very straightforward optional. And the best part with is that syllabus is well defined. If you are under a right mentor, obviously 4.5 months is required to prepare history optional. It does not depend on your level of IQ or level of intelligence. Even average candidates can easily get through. In fact, for history, average candidates are much better because obviously they will get into new things easily. Yeah, that's what Sir told, that basically you don't need to perform history background. If you're from other background, they can do much better because they can learn things easily, and nothing no rocket science is involved in history. So any mentor that can teach properly, any student can grasp it easily. So grasping power in history is quite high.
All right, sir. So, Alok sir, I want you to answer another question, sir. When we talk about the books, you have already said that, only just by just covering the number of books or one particular book list is not enough. Then too, there are some kind of basic books which are required for this. So, sir, can you just give that much, those number of books, the book list which are very basic in nature that we have to cover for this?
Yes, we have some basic books. We all, right, when you keep history optional, we all actually use those books. And these are considered the standard textbook. Suppose for ancient India, we need R.S. Sharma NCRT. So we all, right, use this R.S. Sharma NCRT book. And there is a very popular book. Now we all use it, Upinder Singh. Right, so Upinder Singh and R.S. Sharma, these two are basic popular book. We all need it. Most of the teacher will suggest, right, these two books. So you also have to use it. So R.S. Sharma NCRT, old NCRT, and then you have Upinder Singh. These two are basic. You have more, but these two are basic books. For medieval India, Satish Chandra NCRT, and Satish Chandra, you have 2 volumes also, right? So Satish Chandra NCRT, and then 2 volumes of Satish Chandra, right? Medieval India, part 1, part 2, right? These two book, right? You need basic book. You need. Then 1 volume of G.L. Mehta is also recommended, but right? Why? Because as Sir highlighted it, that Satish Chandra is not covering socio-cultural part, so you need G.L. Mehta. So G.L. Mehta is also a good idea. It's a good book. We have to use it. Then coming to, right, modern India, Bipin Chandra, right, is the most popular, right, the text for class 12th, right? Class 12, Bipin Chand's book. Then Bipin Chand's book, Freedom Struggle, is also very popular. But for history optional, we generally recommend Shekhar Bandhopadhyay also, from Palasi to Partisan. So Shekhar Bandhopadhyay, as a history optional student, we will recommend you have to go for it, right? Then coming for, you can say, the post-independence part, you have a Bipin Chandra's book. It's a well consolidated book. No need to go for Ramchandra Guha. So Ramchandra Guha, whatever is the new thing, we can add in the class, right? So, but Bipin Chandra's book is well, right? Consolidation 1, consolidation 2. It's a well defined, right? Well structured book. So we can go for it. And then coming for world history, in world history, one very popular book of world history is Norman Lowe, Mastering World History, but it doesn't cover revolution part. It doesn't cover Renaissance, Enlightenment part. So we can use Arjun Dev's NCERT, or we can use a very popular book, Jain and Mathur. Jain and Mathur is a very good compiled book for world history. So these are some very popular book. As a history optional student, you have to purchase it. If you are not purchasing it, people will question you're preparing or not preparing. So you have to purchase it, you have to go for it. But what I suggest, that once you have class notes, proper class notes, some basic point related to all those topics mentioned in the syllabus, right? And then you have ability to use those basic point, and you're writing some question, you can ignore some of these books. You can just concentrate on those class notes. And believe me, now history optional can be managed with those class notes, good class notes. But as a reference, we can use this.
Okay, I hope that all the viewers have taken a note of the basic books, the standard books, which are required for history optional. So now, once we have covered the syllabus, say we have given it first reading, second reading, and third reading, after that, answer writing is very, very crucial, sir. So I would want you to shed some light on the relevance of answer writing for history optional, sir.
See, once optional is prepared with respect to reading and revising that syllabus, after this, obviously, the next challenge is to bridge the gap between knowledge and effective answers. And that is really challenging, I'll let you know. Clear? As far as writing practice is concerned, which is mandatory for any candidate opting for history optional, as far as writing practice is concerned, after revising the syllabus, you need to practice some answers, especially of previous year questions also, in order to understand the trend of the questions being asked. While you start writing answers, some things must be taken into account. The first major thing that needs to be taken account is the contextual clarity. As Sir told and we had discussed, dates are not important, but rather the background or context is very important. Clear? When we say diversification or planning in Indus Valley civilization, we need to understand the context, the geographical setting under which these developments took place. So contextual clarity, first of all, is very important to be taken into account. After contextual clarity, the next important thing is the conceptual clarity. Clear? Because without conceptual clarity, weightage will not be given to your arguments. And third and the last is the content clarity. Normally what happens is students do focus more on content clarity rather than contextual and conceptual clarity. Clear? So first of all, contextual clarity, then conceptual clarity, and then finally content one. When you start with this approach, when you start writing answers, there's some micro analysis also. Micro analysis means sentence framing, neatness of the answer, time management, word limit, all these are to be taken care of. Clear? But all these things are not done in perfect manner in one single shot. It is basically an evolutionary process. When you start writing answers, we have 150 words, you will not be able to write in by 15 minutes. But with gradual practice, you will be able to condense your answer, and 150 words can be written in 8 to 9 minutes also. So writing practice requires huge amount of exercise. And this exercise must be done after revising the syllabus and then taking into account certain major macro analysis like contextual and conceptual clarity, then followed by macro analysis like sentence structure, paragraph structuring, neatness, word limit, and time management. All these things are to be taken account to bridge the gap between the knowledge you have attained and effective answers that you are going to write for the examiner.
Thank you so much, sir. So, sir, whenever I just think of attempting any question, the very first factor that stops me from doing it is that what is the format of it? Because of which I always avoid writing answers. So can you just give me a basic format of writing or framing an answer which is related to this subject, sir?
See, it is difficult to suggest one format, one general format, but generally, like if I can give example, suppose you must be right knowing Treaty of Versailles, how Treaty of Versailles, right, created background for Second World War. Suppose this, they are asking this question. We have to see what is the command. Treaty of Versailles gave rise to Second World War. They are saying examine, they are saying analyze, they are saying discuss what. So formatting is, you know certain points about Treaty of Versailles, and once you see Treaty of Versailles, you are not concerned what they are asking or what is the command. You just write everything you have, all those provision of Treaty of Versailles, right, in that answer. So this is not an answer, right? You will not get anything. Suppose for civil services examination, you will not get any marks. We generally think that, okay, we have pumped all those material, we have mentioned all those provisions of Treaty of Versailles, all those territorial loss, what Germany lost to France, Alsace-Lorraine, or Eupen-Malmedy, or Belgium, or whatever facts you have, you are trying to pump. This would not be a right answer. You need a better format. You will introduce Treaty of Versailles, then you will give the provisions, then you will give the limitations of those provisions, then you will write how the Treaty of Versailles was the immediate factor, or there was improvement of relation between, right, Germany and France in 1920s, and there was restructuring of Germany. So Treaty of Versailles became a non-issue in 1920. But when Hitler came, there was, you can say 1929, there was economic depression. Hitler started using this Treaty of Versailles insult factor again. So Treaty of Versailles not directly leading to Second World War, but Treaty of Versailles created the background. And who used this background? Who used this issue? Hitler. So when you are creating the format on the basis of a question, only the provisions of Treaty of Versailles would not be the answer. It would be the part of the answer. So formatting is according to the demand of the question. This is how, right, we develop in the test series also. As Rashid sir said, once you know, you have the facts about Treaty of Versailles, but how to use these facts for the examination, you have to write in consonance with the demand of the question. This training you have to, right, adopt, right, when you start writing it, right? So you have an idea, you have content, but when you start writing it, you start developing better formatting the answer. So formatting is a process. Formatting is a process. Like the university days, we were saying, okay, Balban is there in the question. You write everything about Balban, and the conclusion would be that he was a great monarch. Right? But in civil services, we will not generally, right? We cannot go for it. We cannot go for it. We cannot think. You will see many, they are writing mains with history optional regularly, but they're not getting even 35%, 40%. Because they are not actually writing according to the demand of the question. Right? Content is okay. Suppose you need 3-4 points related to Treaty of Versailles, but the analysis part is required. This is how we develop the format.
I would just want to add one thing, that if we look into general format, obviously sir went into a specific things about the optional and answer formatting. Normal formatting, you must be knowing that every answer has got an introduction, a body, and conclusion. But as she told that she doesn't write any answer because she doesn't know how to start. And this is with almost all the candidates, I'm telling you, clear? It's nothing unique. See, as far as starting the answer or writing introduction is concerned, your introduction, you must keep in mind, your introduction must not be too long. In optional or in GS also, clear? Optional should be just to introduce the question, and it should not extend beyond 2 sentences. This general formatting must be kept in mind. After introducing the question with 2 sentences, whereby you provide the context of the topic which has been asked, then you follow with the body. In body, you just look into the demand of the question. What exactly is the demand of the question? Like critically examine or discuss or enumerate. When it is enumerate, you have to write in points. Clear. When it is critically examined, you have to write in paragraphs. This is the format. And then finally, you have to conclude by summarizing what exactly you have written. Clear. Because futuristic conclusion cannot be there in history. So it is basically in IR and all, we go for futuristic conclusion. In history, basically, we sum up what basically we have done and what was the crux of the development that was asked in this question. This is the general format that we follow in history writing as well.
Okay, sir. It simply means that not only understanding the demand of the question and the context, we also have to see as to how we are arranging the plate, right? What is the representation of the plate? Even that matters. Yes, sir. All right, sir. So this is the last question, and I want both of you to address this one by one, sir. So how does ALS Edukemy help students prepare for this particular subject, sir? So I would want you to start with it.
In ALS Edukemy, our purpose is to complete the syllabus in an organized manner. So when you opt history, you have this, right, problem that it's a huge syllabus. We have to read so many things. So we will make your life easy. We will, we will give you a proper structured class notes and with very good understanding. We will try to simplify the topic first. Then we will divide the topic into different subtopic. Then we will give you notes about those subtopic. And then we will go for question answer exercise. So this is how we are doing it. Once one area is complete, all those words mentioned in the syllabus is complete. See, ancient India would not be complete. All those words mentioned in the syllabus related to ancient India would be complete. It is very difficult to complete history. We are not going for completing the history. There is a syllabus mentioned. Suppose when we are preparing Mauryan period, they have mentioned certain topics related to Mauryan period. When we are preparing Indus Valley civilization, they have mentioned origin, comma, features, comma. So decline, comma. So they are mentioning some topics. They are mentioning some subtopic. We will be trying to understand it in that manner. So we would be working on the syllabus of history option, not exactly history, everything related to history. So you will get a very good understanding of the syllabus. We will connect the topic. We will simplify the topic, and then we will give you a class notes, something to write. Right, so that you can revise it. And then when you are going for, you can say more, right, information on that, you will appreciate, okay, this information can be added here, this information can be added here. And then when your class notes is complete, when you have added some information, only thing you need is revise it, come for the test, come for the question answer discussion, and then you try to learn how you can present this fact, this arrangement in a more effective manner, right? This is how you have to develop. Gradually you have to develop. So we will complete the syllabus. We are emphasizing map also, right? Rashid sir is expert of map, right, for us, right? So we will be devoting separate classes for map, because we know that once you are getting 80% marks in map, you would be our topper. So we will be giving you, separate time for mapping. Then we will be going for test. Ancient India done, one test. Medieval India done, second test. Modern India, third, like that. And then daily, we will be going for some question answer. If not daily, after completion of one topic or subtopic. So this process for around 4.5 or 5 months will actually give you required strength to handle this examination. So we will complete the syllabus. We would be with you in the entire process. And as I told you that even after finishing the course, right, we will maintain that relationship till you qualify. Right, this is how we do it, or we will be doing it in Edukemy and ALS. Rashid sir will also add something.
Actually, Alok sir has said everything. about history optional at ALS and Edukemy. I just need to add one thing that as sir told that every topic and subtopic will be covered, which are mentioned in the syllabus, that too, not only covered, it will be covered within the time frame. See, at Edukemy, we follow a very disciplined course of action whereby we emphasize on the timely coverage of the syllabus. It won't get prolonged unnecessarily. Clear? We have to relieve you for your preliminary examination as well. So one aspect of Edukemy is disciplined classes regularly, and that to the completion of the course within the set time frame. So timely completion of the course is one very important aspect here. We do follow it strictly so that it doesn't get prolonged unnecessarily. At the same time, this course will be guided and marked by practice-driven approach. As sir told you, that not only will be teaching you in the class, we will ensure your participatory approach in the class. We will ask you to ask as many questions as possible. And at the same time, we will make you write as many answers as possible. So that side-by-side writing practice also continues. And by the time the course gets over, you are confident enough that with certain revision and further practice, you can appear for mains examination comfortably with this subject. This is the approach that we follow at this platform.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Alok, sir. Thank you, Rashid, sir. So there is so much that I have learned with today's session that even students coming from science background can go for this particular subject. Along with that, we not only need to cover the books, the syllabus, the standard books which are there, but also we have to go for answer writing, that too in an orderly fashion. And along with that, we just have to practice and practice.